Hello everyone, Raph King back again with you from Living Kinetics. I had a few extra minutes in my day and I really wanted to just knock out this quick video for you guys and talk a little anatomy. You'll have to excuse some of the noise. My dogs love to chew on toys as I'm doing videos like this, but let's go ahead and get right into it, talking about one of my favorite muscles today. So let's go ahead and bring up some musculature. In fact, let's bring up all the musculature real quick because I want to show you how deep this muscle is in the body. As we start to pull off some of the superficial muscles, we're going to start to get down to some really deep layers. And here's the guy we're talking about today, Psoas Major. Just to give you some insight about what this muscle does, it's going to flex the hip and laterally or externally rotate the hip, meaning this. It's going to turn the hip out, it's going to turn your feet out, and it allows you to bring your knee up to your chest. So if you could imagine if you are sitting in a chair for a good part of your day and you have that kind of open posture where the knees are out, the feet are turned out, and well, your knees are not directly under you, but you're in a seated position, this puts the psoas in a very short position and can lead to problems thereafter. And in fact, we could talk about the whole ilio-psoas complex, because not only are we going to have psoas major that we're talking about, but psoas minor, he's the little brother that sits on top of it, and this iliacus muscle over here, which blends together with it right at the attachment site through here. But let's go ahead and isolate this guy a little bit so you can really see some of these attachments and its true structure. So as I look from the back view, the posterior view of the body, we can actually see its attachment sites. We can see it attached to the transverse processes of the spine and right down to the femur right here. But what's amazing about that it connects to the back of the body, is look how much of its belly lays on the front of the body here. And it's because of its positioning that it can kind of create this wonderful pulley effect and actually be a very powerful core muscle. And I have to say that's why it's one of my favorites, particularly because of how it affects everything throughout the body. Let's go ahead and bring up some color right here. So we have the origin and the insertion. And of course that can change depending on the movement that you're doing here, but we have attachment sites. Now let's say we have a tight psoas from a whole lot of sitting, a whole lot of standing, just a whole lot of life. And that tight psoas is accompanied with tight quads. So anterior thigh also gets tight. What can start to happen is the low back and the pelvis here will get pulled forward. You can kind of imagine someone pretending to have a bubble butt. This here is an anterior tilt to the pelvis. This is not necessarily a good stack to the spine. You don't want this, and you can end up with an achy low back because of it. But let's say we have a tight psoas from a whole lot of sitting, and it's not the quads that get too tight, but our hammies back here that start to get really tight. Imagine someone who's been sitting for a long time and they go to stand up and they can't straighten out their knees. What you're going to notice is the curve back here starts to flatten and everything starts to tuck under this way, going the opposite direction of our anterior pelvic tilt, of course, being coined a posterior pelvic tilt. Neither of these are preferable for the spine. And again, that's why I love the psoas major muscle so much, because just by working this core muscle here, we can alleviate so many symptoms, not just in the low back, but in the hips. And as we get those to align better, well, of course, the upper back is going to feel better, and well, the rest of the body. So that's just my 2 cents there on one of my favorite muscles. Go ahead and join me next time as we get to talk about another one of my favorite muscles. We'll only have 50 favorite muscles in the body, but please stay tuned. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I hope you got a lot out of it. Take care.